This is going to be like a little travel blog and a little bit of business sprinkled in with some lessons learned while I was recently on a 1 week island vacation with my family and a dear friend of ours. So we went last week, we went to Tasmania, which is a state below the mainland of Australia, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It's an island and it's pretty small, so you can kind of road trip around it. We ended up hiring a vehicle and we did pretty much the northeast corner of it. We went to a national park. We did a lot of the big fishing spots. My husband and our friend are big fishermen. And it was really amazing. And this whole trip, I just felt so grateful to be there, to be in this era of my life where I can take these extended vacations with my family and be really present in the moment, but also be running a business. And that's kind of the business part that I'm going to sprinkle in. I'm going to share with you 4 of my top tips here on how this was possible for me and how I was still able to run my business and the podcast in the background with very minimal work. I think I probably sent like 3 emails, and I received some speaking opportunities came through during that time. And when I got home, I actually was connecting with new clients that wanted to work with me. So these are really the top tips I want to share on how I was able to do family time, spend that beautiful quality time with my family while also running the business. So the first thing was I have currently outsourced all my non-essential tasks in my business. So things like podcast editing and finances, these were things that I was never great at, but I thought as a business owner that I had to do them because that's what business owners do. We wear all of the hats. But I realized that as my business has grown and I've actually seen a lot more cash flow than I've ever had and more clients than I've ever had, that I've been able to hire out these really big activities, and it saves me so much time. So I think just those 2 tasks, so the podcast editing and the finances, I've estimated that I probably get like 3 to 4 hours back in my week every week, and probably way more. I would say that is an average. So what I'm doing here is like I'm buying my time back by outsourcing. And the way that this is so amazing is because these are experts that I'm hiring. And they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for years, and they get to the point, they get in, they get my work done, and they do it so much quicker than I could ever do. And I remember when I was talking with Jesse about whether we, outsource a podcast editing, whether we not. And we are like, well, I mean, it takes us probably 2 hours a week to do this. So if we can hire it out and they flip it around in like a 24-hour turnaround, then it is worth our money because we're both new mothers. We don't have an abundance of time on our hands. In fact, it's very minimal. So we thought this was an incredible way to invest our resources from the podcast business in order to get these hours back for us. The other thing I've been working on is diversifying lead generation. So when I was on this road trip, I started to receive speaking opportunities coming through. I had a call from a contact who is interested in securing me for a 12,000 plus speaking engagement later in the year. And then I got an email come through actually via the radio show, and it was a lead on another potential speaking opportunity and a client. So these things are things that came through, not necessarily explicitly through my coaching business, but they came through the first channel being the podcast and the second channel being through the radio show. So this is really important to diversify your lead generation. So that means you're just getting more potential for leads coming through. And a lot of the time, it's where you least expect it. So that's another one. The third thing I want to say is I have started to automate. Well, I've been doing this for a while, but I'm starting to see the traction is automating with systems. So if, I'm at the river playing with rocks with my 11-month-old son, that clients can find me, they can be part of my content and flowing into my channels, but then they can reach out and click through and schedule a discovery call with me literally with like 2 clicks of a button. So this is a system that I use. It's called Calendly. If you're a coach out there, if you have a service industry, phenomenal way to book discovery calls with clients, to book one-on-one calls with clients. And again, this frees up my time so I can spend it doing what is important to me, which is being with my family. And it's just a really simple, such an easy automation. I think I probably set it up in like 10 minutes like a year ago, but it means that clients can connect with me, book a time on my calendar, and I can literally be like at the beach with my family. So the fourth thing I want to say, and this is related to the podcast. So I have long form content running in the background. This is the podcast. If you're listening, then this is that content that I'm speaking of. So this is running on repeat in the background. So anyone out there can listen to the podcast. They can tune in. They can be like, hey, I like what she's talking about. I like her vibe. Let me see what she's going on social, and then go from there. So this is a really important thing if you're out there, if you're a long form content babe, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you have a blog, if even social media, but I think the long form content here is important because it improves that know, like, and trust factor. And I get clients all the time through this channel saying like, oh, Mel, I've been listening since the beginning and I love your journey and I'd like to be part of it. Let's work together. So that's really important. If you don't already have long form content in the background, it's maybe a phenomenal way to explore, to really show who you are, to help people in like more depth is the other thing. So those are all phenomenal ways that I have found have allowed me the time back in my life so that I can start to run the business a little in the background, basically delegating and kind of managing as opposed to working in the business, doing 12 plus hours, 16 plus hours a day, which I used to do about 3 years ago, because that's what I thought being a business owner did. I thought it meant doing everything, every single thing that you saw online, do it all. But really, in reality, it comes down to finding clarity on your business, finding clarity on your message, finding those clients that you just love to serve, sharing your message, and then magnetizing them to you. So these are all 4 things. So outsource all non-essential tasks as much as, your budget allows. The next thing, diversified lead generation, so you can get leads on autopilot. Automate with systems so people can connect with you and book with you easily. The last thing, have that long form content in the background so people can know, like, and trust you and jump into your sphere from there. So I really hope someone helps someone out there. It was a phenomenal week last week, being present with my son, with my husband at the same time. I don't often get them together 24/7 like that for an extended period of time. So it was just beautiful having that family vibe. We were joined by a dear friend of ours, which is, an incredible thing to share that with him as well. And I really want this for everyone out there. If you're listening to this and you think, wow, this sounds pretty cool and I'm interested in learning more, then by all means, reach out to me. I would love to connect with you and I would love to help you on your journey to get more clarity, more confidence, and the cash flow that I know you deserve. So if that resonates with you, I'm going to drop a link below with a link to apply for a free call if that feels really good for you. We'll go through some strategies to help you in your business to start to, work to find that clarity, that confidence, so you can spend more time with your family